Alright, so what we got here today is the 4910 I've been working on. This is actually a 490 chassis. So if you look up the part numbers, if you look up the serial number, it'll say CS490. But you can see it's got a 4910 piston, 490 pistons, full circle, and this is the cylinder I've got done up for it. On the cylinder, I knocked the skirt back. The reason for that is if you don't machine the skirt, or don't take the skirt back, and when you drop the cylinder and omit a base gasket, your space in here, which is where your transfers are going to flow to, the area available right there is less than the area available of the lower transfers themselves. I don't like that because I view that as a bottleneck. Ideally, I'd want the smallest area to be my your uppers. And yeah, it's on camera, so they're gonna look. This is as ugly as they're gonna look. They're better in person, but they're all chamfered up. It's just a burr finish there. Intake is just 80 grit. There was a little bit of a burr on the bottom, so I knocked it loose, or took it out, but you can still see there's a little bit of plating there. The finish is just 80 grit Tootsie Roll. Only reason I touched the intake on that is I'm gonna try and push this about as hard as I can, or probably harder than I've pushed any of them so far. And some of the 4-stroke cylinder head porting channels that I watch, they pick up volume, they pick up flow numbers going from burr finish to 60 grit finish. Almost everything they do picks up flow number, and that's kind of why I roughed up the transfers slightly. Yeah, like I said, those are the uppers. Leaving that little, that back corner looks ugly, but it's helping to direct charge. If I take it out completely and square it up and make it look nicer, it doesn't direct charge as well as I would like to see it. And then I did polish the exhaust. It looks kind of like orange peel just because the finish wasn't so great. I couldn't fit any of my sanding tooling down in there far enough, but nothing should stick to that. It is shiny. And the roof of that exhaust is fairly flat. Got my corners rounded, but the roof is a lot flatter than it looks. It's kind of deceptive looking at it through there, but I'll show y'all when the cylinder's on the machine what I'm talking about. I'm slightly worried about that, hoping it's not going to blow. But I don't know if I've had one that flat before. It's only about 65% of bore width, because that's about all you can get away with on with the port and the skirt restriction of the piston. So that's a 45 millimeter bore. My exhaust is 1.1 inches wide, which is like 27 millimeters, I believe. But you have to watch out for your pin. And I know my fingernails are gross because I'm a mechanic and I just need to trim them. But you have to watch out for this locating pin here for your ring. If you get too wild, you'll push it over there, or you'll push it past the skirt, and then your exhaust won't seal your crankcase. And I didn't even check those corners, but last one I did 65 on, it was fine. If you just have a little bit in a corner somewhere, I think you're okay. And again, the bottom here is rounded up pretty tight. I don't remember seeing air gap, but we'll check it when I get it. Get the cylinder put on there with some sealant. I gotta put the keepers in the piston and then do a little bit more assembly, but we'll work on getting the cylinder on first. Now, since it's a 490 saw that I'm running, you can't run a decomp, so you have to plug it. I might go to the hardware store tomorrow or before I ship this off and make a better plug if I can find the correct fastener, because I don't like how that's got exposed threads there and it's giving up volume, and it's interrupting the combustion chamber. So just as a precaution, might do something a little bit different. I do have it cleaned up, got my clips in. I'm gotta put goop on this base and then we'll stick it in there. Here's what I'm talking about with the exhaust. How I'm worried about how flat it is. The camera's not gonna focus, but I mean, the whole thing pretty much opens at once. There's a little bit of curve in the corners. That'll probably be alright. It looks better on the camera than it does to my eye. And we were worried about it being, let's see, the other concern was the corners being exposed. I don't see anything there. I don't see anything there, so it looks like we're good. Sometimes I overlook stuff and end up paying a price for it, but I believe we're sealed up and in good shape. Looks like it to me. I use Hylamar to seal bases. I either use Hylamar or 3-bond if I'm not running a gasket. On bigger stuff I'll use 3-bond, bigger stuff I typically run a gasket. 50cc is about my cutoff, just because you have so much more material there, so your rate of heating and cooling, expansion and contraction is a little bit, I think you end up with a little bit less movement overall. Oh, and if anyone wonders, intake falls at 79, exhaust cracks open at 102, transfers are 124, and the best I could measure combustion chamber is 4 cc's at 20,000 squish, and with the exhaust height I think I ended up at 9-to-1 compression ratio, corrected compression ratio. That's a new thing I'm trying out, tuning based on corrected compression ratio. If you can hit a certain ratio, then you can get a little more wild on your durations, I believe. But we'll see how it goes. Hopefully this one will be pretty spicy. Excuse the mess, it's worse than normal right now. It's like every time I come out to clean up, someone calls and says, "Oh, hey Dave, I need this fixed." So I've got half a dozen projects in here. This is the 490 with the 4910 stuff on it. I don't have a muffler mod on it yet. I just pulled the hole out the side of it and have it kind of rough tuned in, making sure that it actually runs, but it sounds pretty healthy. That might have been it. Alright, let's figure out what happened together. I think I know what happened. Fingers crossed that it's what I think it is. Because I did not install the flywheel with an impact. I just used a little bitty 1/4 inch ratchet. And I don't think I cranked down on it quite like I should have. Ain't gonna lie, my stomach has dropped because that was not a nice noise. And I can see the nut is loose on the flywheel, but we want to make sure it's because the flywheel come loose, not because something inside of it let loose. Like I said, I am kind of iffy on that exhaust, and it turned loose at like a in a free rev with no bar on it, which feels kind of dumb on my end to do. And I'm definitely pulling the exhaust to look in and see what's going on there, because I don't want to just snug this back down and let it go. Okay, so that's all right. Nothing broken there. Nuts loose. Guess that needs to be tightened with an impact. This piece pulls out of here. I know it does. Hopefully we still have a slot for a flywheel key. I really don't want to wait on the flywheel. Oh. No. It might have let loose. The key sheared in the flywheel, so I bet it is locked up. Oh man. This is not a good feeling. Not a good feeling. There was optimism, but it is gone. Gone. But I ain't got no one to blame but myself here. Ooh, come on, David. I thought the roof was a little bit much. Now I know what too flat is. Got no pieces in there. What's going on here? Hold up, I'm gonna pause it, and when I figure it out, we'll see. Oh, no, inside is fine. I just sheared a flywheel key. Let me show y'all. That is a pleasant surprise, and I ain't gonna push my luck no more. Where's my ratchet? This thing is not pushing my luck anymore tonight, because we're still together inside. That's oil in there. That is hot. Don't touch an exhaust that's just been running. But hey, that's really, really cool. I'm actually happy, super happy about that. How am I gonna get the flywheel out of this crank? How am I gonna get the keyway out of this crank? Not 100% on. But that is, that's pretty wild. That's a first. I'm really happy that the motor didn't come apart, because I'm always super paranoid about that, even on stuff that's just like a stock rebuild. I don't know what y'all are even looking at there. There's the key. The crank surface ain't hurt. The machine surface for the key ain't hurt, and doesn't really look like, yeah, flywheel's not hurt. Pretty crazy. I'll leave y'all at that. It's a lucky one for me.